Good morning, true crime friends. How y'all doing? Listen, we need to close out this case, the state of Georgia versus Matthew Lanz. He's creepy AF. I mean, obviously he has a real ticklish brain and stuff, but I'm glad this case is finished because I'm going to tell you everything that happened, including the verdict. But first, you know what you need to do. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it out, and hype the video if you have any hypes left. I believe you get 3 a week. Me and you, we're going to get to 30,000 subscribers together. So picture it, Georgia. Yesterday, it's time for closing arguments, right? And the state stands up and they're like, now look, what you need to keep in mind is that this is a bench trial, which means there's no 12 people from the community, jurors of your peers. It's just the judge. And I was like, oh, this makes for a nice, efficient trial. She can listen to all the craziness. And then she's like, let me just write up my little thoughts and feelings or whatever and send Joe behind to jail forever. That's what I thought was going to happen. And so the state stands up and it's like, Your Honor. And so she tells the whole story that we already know. That is that based on the evidence. That Matthew was real ticklish of the brain, although she didn't mention his crazy, which I was like, oh, well, that is restrained. Okay, cool. This boy was found competent to stand trial, although I've seen him. I have some highly sensitive recording devices in my face called my eyes, also my ears, and I was like, he looked guilty to me. I mean, I know you can't officially have a guilty look, but if there is a guilty look, he certainly has it. Anyway, so she's like, he had 40 minutes. I'm telling you, this was malice, unfortunate unaliving, because he stalked this family. He showed up at the property and you can see him on the Ring cameras or whatever, walking around for 40 minutes, just thinking about it. That was plenty of time for him to change his crazy mind and take his behind back home. And then he broke in the house and pewed them up 5 times. She kept saying over and over, y'all, now listen, this is a terrible and emotional case. But this prosecutor, she's like, let me see if I can make everybody in here cry, including the unfortunate unaliver. She's like, he went in and he slowly and he pulled and then this bullet went in here and out there and it made a hole here, a hole there, holes everywhere. And I was like, ma'am, can we just tone it down? The judge knows that they were pewed up. We know you're giving your best performance for court TV, but ew. And then she said, and then he left. But then their baby woke up. We don't know what time the baby woke up, but we know that the baby came and found the parents. He's only 2 years old and he was trying to get their attention, trying to get the parents to play with him. And I was like, I can't. My whole heart is breaking wide open. And then she was just like, the baby even played with the bullet casings. And I was like, for real? Oh, that seems real dangerous. But also there was broken glass, there was bullets, there was dead parents. A terrible, terrible situation. The whole family is weeping and wailing and falling out in the pews. And I'm like, can we just dial it back on the grief porn for just a little bit? And so the prosecutor was like, he knows he's guilty. And I was thinking, And she's like, he did it. We all know he did it. He knows he did it. And even when he was interviewed by the police were like, so what do you think happened? And he was like, well, somebody murdered them, obviously. And I was like, right. So you maybe don't have to just keep hammering this whole point because, I might need therapy after this case. And then the prosecutor said, this was very interesting to me. In case you don't know the history of this case, first of all, where you been? Second of all, I have a whole Matthew Lanz playlist so you can get the overview and then the other parts of the case. But Matthew had a crazy ass brother. Now, that's not what she said, but that's the spirit of what she said. He had a crazy ass brother who had a brain that was real ticklish. They believe he was schizophrenic as well. Yes, schizophrenia runs in families. It's terrible. The crazy ass brother was obsessed with the over the back fence neighbors, right? And so he kept doing weird, putting weird things in the over the back fence neighbors' mailboxes. And then the crazy ass brother, that's the official term for him, was told you can't be harassing these neighbors over here. So he had to go to court. And the crazy brother was like, right, I'm going to go, I'm going to see a psychiatrist and I'm going to get an alcohol evaluation and I'm going to do all the things. And the judge was like, okay, you have 30 days to get that done. And crazy number one was like, right. That's what I'm going to do. Only first, I'm gonna go down to the Pentagon and like stab up a security guard and then pew pew myself in the head with the security guard's gun. So this family, the Lanz family, was like, we had one son whose brain went all the way to the left. We were not entirely certain what was happening with the second brother. The state was like, please ignore all the things the crazy ass brother did. Crazy number one, we are here to focus on brother number two. The only reason we mention crazy ass brother number one is because crazy brother number one was obsessed with the people, the back fence neighbors, right? After the brother was no longer on this mortal coil, that family over the fence moved out. This was a totally new, separate family who had moved in, who knew nothing about the madness that had taken place in that house. Also, apparently you don't have to disclose if you got crazy neighbors. Duly noted. So, Matthew was like, right. Those people were obviously torturing my brother. He couldn't see that his brother might have had. Okay. Also, the people who he thought were torturing his brother no longer even lived in the house. So when questioned by police, he was just like, the police were like, why do you think something bad happened to those people in that house that had nothing to do with your crazy ass brother? And he was like, well, I don't know, but that house terrorized my brother. And the blinking lights, I think they were demonic. I'm sorry, what? Demonic, you say? Sir, hi, me, Kathy, gossip from the internet. It was Christmas and those were Christmas lights. And if you feel like the blinky Christmas lights are speaking to you, you need to immediately seek help. Also, you need to go down to the nervous hospital. Just check yourself in. You know, you can check yourself in, right? And so I was just like, okay, demonic Christmas lights. Aren't Christmas lights like the opposite of demons? Aren't they supposed to bring like good cheer and twinkly thoughts? I guess, they went into his highly sensitive recording devices and got, all messed up someplace in his brains because he thought Christmas lights were demonic. Blinking like Morse codes to him. I don't know what he thought. So the state was like, he did it. His bullets matched, the gun matched, everything matched. There was DNA. Like, we have all the things. He super duper did it. Find him guilty. And then she was just like, now look, we know he broke a window, but there were no cuts and stuff on him. But that's because he wore many, many layers of clothes. I was like, oh, that's smart. I never even would have thought of that. Also, I get hot easy. This is probably one of the many, many reasons why I'm not a criminal. You got to put on layers of clothes. Oh no, I could never. Child, I get a hot flash. I'd be like, the robbery is off. I'm hot. I'm flashing. I can't do it. Anyway, but he was young. So clearly he was not having hot flashes. But, he put on a bunch of layers of clothes so that when he broke the glass wouldn't get on him. But when they found him at a different crime scene where he broke into a different person's house, he had not broken any glass to get in the second house he broke into, like 2 days later. He didn't break a window to get in that house. He just opened the door and walked in, but they found broken glass in the folds of his clothes. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I had not realized that was the situation. So the glass was from the break-in where he pew-pewed up the people. Also, the night of the crime, he told his parents that he was coming home, but that he never arrived. And they were like, oh, okay, maybe he got busy. Mom and daddy knew. You will never in a million years convince me that mama and daddy ain't know. They had that first crazy brother. They were like, might we have two crazy sons? A quick Google search would tell you that like the ticklish of the brain can run in families. And then at the interview with the police, when the police were like, so the lights were demonic at the house behind you. And he was just like, absolutely. Okay. The parents, when they spoke to the police, they were like, yeah, well, when we first heard of the unfortunate unaliving, my first thought was, where's Matthew? Your first thought, you say? Your first thought? If there's a crime in my neighborhood, my first thought is not, where is my child? Now listen, If all the frozen pizza in the house goes missing, I know exactly which child did that. If there's a jar of pickles on the counter and the top is left off and they just left sitting there, I'm looking for my husband. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know my family. I know their rhythms. In this family, they're like, oh, if someone is unfortunately unalived, we should maybe try an inventory where our sons are. Reportedly, allegedly, they also have 2 daughters who I guess are not of the ticklish brain variety. Unclear. But the parents, as soon as they heard about this, they sped 2 hours away to Matthew's place to be like, hey boy, hey, where are you? Hello, it's me, mom and dad, let us in. So the dad was like, okay, listen, we got to talk to you. Did you unfortunately unalive the neighbors? And apparently Matthew was just like, no, I didn't murder them. You know what I mean? Y'all want some coffee? It's early. The parents were like, this boy's sketchy as hell. Parents, oh my God. The parents say to the police, he gave us an answer, but it was not a good answer. How you fix your mouth to ask your kid if they murdered somebody? Okay. This is not my life, praise God. And I'm just like, I cannot imagine being in this situation. The parents told the police, we immediately went to talk to him. His answer was sketchy. He said he didn't do anything. We were unconvinced. We wanted to believe that he is mentally ill, but we don't know. At this point in the closing arguments, Matthew just starts looking down and he's all like sad and shameful. Sir, maybe that's where you should have gone, to the sad and shameful place, instead of like pew-pewing up them people. The parents didn't want to believe it. I believe it, but I'm not your mom and daddy. So then they went to his Google searches. The way I love a Google search. I'm like, tell me every single thing. Google knows your mind. Yes, the FBI and whoever is in charge of Google is watching you. So Google accordingly. This boy was not even smart enough to Google on incognito, so clearly he's bad at crime. And he Googled a bunch of blood facts. Okay. And he Googled the 10 Commandments. Sir, isn't one of the biggies, do not unfortunately unalive others and break into people and possess a weapon with ill intent? I'm not up on the commandments. And then he was Googling death statistics. Were you going to write a paper about the unfortunate unaliving that you did? I don't understand. And then he Googled, does a head really explode when you pew-pew it like it did on Pulp Fiction? I can't. It's something wrong with him. Now, we knew there was something wrong with him, but interestingly enough, they didn't mention this in the closing statements, but I heard this on YouTube. And would YouTube lead me wrong? When they were doing the competency hearing to determine if Matthew was had a fit enough brain to stand trial, yes, he's schizophrenic and some other stuff. But just because you're schizophrenic, that number one, most schizophrenic people do not commit crimes. They are more likely to harm themselves than others. Being schizophrenic and committing crimes, those things don't usually go together. But also, when he was down to the nervous hospital and they were evaluating him, the nurses pointed out that they felt like he was malingering. Yeah, he was crazy and stuff, with all due respect. But he was living with mental illness, but also he would watch the other mentally ill patients and try and mimic them. Oh. And he showed strong narcissistic tendencies. That is an interesting fact, a very, very interesting fact. Your brain can be telling you to do bad things. That doesn't mean you have to do it. Every day my brain tells me I need to eat donuts. But do I eat donuts? No, because I'm still trying to get down to my original weight of 5 pounds and 6 ounces. But that's a conversation for another day. Anyway, when Matthew got picked up by the police, he said to the police, oh, yeah, that neighbor lady, she got pew-pewed up. I still feel bad that there was a baby in her body. Did you just make that up? Because she was not pregnant. Okay. He went on and on about demons and I need to talk to God and I need to say a prayer. Boy, Jesus don't know you. Jesus don't know you. Y'all not on first name basis. He don't want no parts of you. The devil, on the other hand, he like, oh, come my child. Thank you for doing my evil works. I'm like, come on. I need to say a prayer. To who? Look, I don't know how crazy works, but this This right here was a whole mess. Please hold. Hang on. The prosecutor closes out by saying, think of the Hicks family. I have stood up here and I have just really, really dug into what a good family they were. And they were a good, kind, moral family. They had Bible verses all over the house. Ooh, the way I hate word art. So tacky. Anyway, in my opinion, they had love letters to each other. They were a good Christian family. They were having cuddle day when this happened. Cuddle day. Is anything more wholesome? Meanwhile, the family is like falling out, hysterical, crying, can barely contain themselves. And I'm like, my heart breaks for this family, but like, prosecutor, reel it in. Reel it in. You're just like, oh. Plus, the judge is not supposed to decide this case on like sympathy and heartstrings. She's supposed to decide it on the strength of the case that you have. You have a strong case. Please sit down and get off this family, because like, you just torturing them now, ma'am. And it just seems cruel and unkind. But that's just me, Kathy the Gossip from the internet. And finally, the prosecutor closes out with, he's guilty AF. Find him guilty. She said it in judicial terms, but the basis of what she said was like, that boy, oh, he's super duper guilty. And then the defense stood up. Now, what you need to understand about this defense is through this whole case, the defense was like, I'm just here to collect a paycheck. I will say the legally law things that I need to say, and not one word more. I kind of don't like him. That's not what he said, but that is the spirit of what I was getting from him on the court TV. He's like, I don't even really like him like that, but these nice people are paying my bill or whatever. So, I have to do what I have to do. He meanders up to the stand. He seemed like he was roaming around the courtroom. He had trouble finding the stand. And the judge was like, hey, just speak into the mic. You got to speak into the mic so I can hear you. And the attorney was like, wait, what? Huh? Oh. This microphone right here, after he banged it all up, I was just like, okay, sir. And he was just like, Your Honor, I'm not going to hold you, but we have some questions. Again, I'm summarizing what he said. I'm going to be real short. Yes, Matthew's mama has some concerns. Because her son crazy as hell. She had concerns about his safety based on what his brother had done and his brother's situation with medical problems. The mom was concerned that Matthew might hurt himself. Yeah, that's So they were like, we didn't want him to have a gun because he might pew himself, and we didn't want that to happen. That might have been better. But she was just like, he's like, Matthew was not cut. So you're not going to mention them 65,000 layers of clothes he was wearing to keep from... Okay, that's fine. You're just doing your job. Great. He was like, there was no DNA in the house. There was DNA on the bullets, but like aside from that, his DNA was not in the house. And then he stumbled and stammered. Your Honor, I think maybe okay, defense attorney, we understand. You got to get up here. You got a job to do. And he was like, and if you think about the lights had like motion sensors. We don't know how sensitive those motion sensors were. The lights went on and they went off and they did all these things. And yes, it all lines up when Matthew could have gone into the house, but somebody could have arrived early and hid in the house and wait till they were in full cuddle and the baby was asleep and all these other things. And like, we don't know what happened. Sir, yes, we do. We know what happened. We not foggy at all. And then he was just like, yes, Matthew put his phone in the airplane mode in the time period immediately following this unfortunate unaliving. But like, people put their phone in airplane mode. You just want the judge to hurry up and find him guilty, right? Because that's what I'm getting from your whole little speech. You're like, yeah, hey, Judge, hey, just do what you got to do. He obviously did it. So, like, I don't even know why we here. I don't know why this boy didn't take a plea. I confess I'm guilty and just send me away for life. Maybe that was his arrogance and his narcissism, separate and apart from his ticklishness of the brain. Okay. And the attorney was like, did the dog bark? We don't know. Yeah, none of us know. Why are you asking these questions? And the attorney closes out with, look at the evidence, seek the truth. You notice he never said, find my client not guilty. Now, in front of a jury, child, the defense attorney would be up there. There's no evidence. Find my client not guilty. Blah, blah, blah. This attorney just kept saying, do what you can with, seek the truth, please. Because he obviously going to jail forever, ever. So like, just seek the truth. I was like, okay. And then the judge was like, since this is a bench trial, I am going to deliberate and find a verdict and discover my verdict or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is not going to take long at all. She had to write up a whole paper. She had to like type out his whole full name, Matthew Scott Lanz, blah, blah, blah. And then finally they're like 90 minutes later, oh, we have a verdict. Yay. How guilty did she find him? Did she find him guilty on all 12 charges? 9 of the 12? Like, what is she going to do? And then it happened. Y'all, when they called court back to order, did you notice? I noticed. Go back and look when it's time for the verdict. The sheriff deputies enter the courtroom. Ooh! Chief Sheriff Deputy Swole walked in and I was like, oh, the chocolatey goodness that is present in this courtroom right now. And so I believe his name was Betts. I don't know. Watts? Something like that. Yo, the chocolate drop that was big old swolled up arms. I was like, oh, deputy, I've been up to no good. Do you spank? Okay, sorry. I'm beside myself. But Sheriff Swole walked in and was escorting Lil Matthew. Ooh, and he had a yummy sidekick too. I was like, oh, it's like the United Colors of Benetton. You like chocolate, you like vanilla, you like caramel. They got everything for you down there at that sheriff's office. I might need to go visit Atlanta. Anyway, so Matthew sat stoically and I'm like, how long till Deputy Swole and them just gonna take him out of here, take him to prison forever, ever. And so the judge was like, thank you everyone for gathering. I will now enter my non-jury judgment. And I was like, oh, right. Okay, nobody has to stand up. She reads it herself. And she was just like, I, the honorable judge with my gorgeous braids here in Georgia, land of sweet, juicy peaches and sweet, juicy deputies. That's not what she said, but that's what I heard. You know, they give all that long preamble. We, the people of the great state of Georgia, with all of these nice deputies that I kind of want to like start singing a song and stripping and stuff, find you guilty on all charges. And I was like, right, that tracks. She went one by one. Child, ain't got that kind of free time. Matthew sat there stoically. The family gave golf claps. And the judge was like, this court is still in session. Don't make me bonk, y'all. Although you've met my co-star, right? Bonky. Mm-hmm. Somebody sent me this gavel in the mail. It has made me happier than it should. Now, it was originally brown or black or something, but it didn't really pop on camera. And I was like, oh no, she need a makeover. So I got her a little makeover. So please meet my co-star Bonky. She's gorgeous. Anyway, the judge was like, you're not supposed to be clapping over here in the court, so you can clap outside. I know, you're really happy. This is very sad. And then Matthew looked down, and did I see a tear? I thought I saw a tear. Wait, sociopaths can cry? Unclear. I did not know. And so then she went ahead and read whatever, she made the family stop clapping and cheering and stuff. And then that's when I got my opportunity to count them all. 7 beefy detectives. I was like, ooh, deputies. Deputy 1, Deputy 2, Deputy 3. I froze on that picture and I was just like, okay. Hey there, Georgia judicial system. Anyway, they all clearly go to the gym, so you could just meet them down to the gym, clearly. And so then they escorted the sociopath out, and they're going to have closing statements and victim impacts tomorrow. I imagine that it's going to be terrible, terrible, and heartbreaking and sad, and I will not be watching because there's other people's business that I need to mind. We know this boy is going to prison for the rest of his life where he deserves to be. Hopefully they take him down to the nervous hospital, but probably not. I hope they are medicating his illness. Now listen, please know, if you or somebody you know is hearing voices like disembodied voices, you can get help. Y'all, most people with schizophrenia live perfectly normal lives and do not harm others. Look, don't let the stigma of mental illness fool you. It's a lot of people out here with all kinds of stuff leading normal lives. So go to the doctor, get your medication, stay on your routine, whatever it is the doctor and them say you should do, go on and do it. And look, don't be medicating yourself with these leaves and berries and twigs and stuff from the yard, some weeds, some liquor, that brown liquor and stuff. That'll get you in trouble. Go to your doctor and get yourself checked out. And y'all be careful out there. You know how we do. I will see you next crime. Bye.